everyone, welcome back. I've got a treat because I've got, ta-da, this is Arun. It's like flash. My husband is here. Today we're gonna answer all of the questions, actually just 10 of the questions that were asked of us on Instagram. All right, so there are a lot of questions, a lot of them that I felt like my husband could help answer as well. And I just wanna remind you guys, there is a video from back in the day, like 3 or 4 years ago, where it's a Meet My Husband video where I think we answer a lot of these questions also. But we'll start with question number 1, and that is, how did we meet, Arun?
We met at a bar.
Yes, we did. It was like a bar club back in the day when you go to a bar club.
Crown Bar.
It was called Crown Bar. We've been married for 9.5 years now. No, 9 and like a quarter. 9 and a quarter. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah. We got married June 4th, 2014. Yeah?
2011.
I can do math. We met in 2009. I had just moved to Los Angeles and I was like here for 3 days. I had only been here for 3 days. I was at a bar. I was meeting up with another guy. I was waiting at the door for that guy to come in because he was in line. And Arun walked up to me. I have a voice for you. He was like, looks like you're waiting for somebody.
Yeah, that's right.
No. Do you want to add any color? You want to add any color to our story of how we met?
She was just waiting there at the door for somebody. Didn't know who, so I just went up to her, and this is when people were still approaching people. Yeah. And they weren't going online.
Dating online was a thing, but dating apps were not a thing.
Right, so anyways, I saw her standing there with her friend, and I just said, looks like you're waiting for someone. And she says, I am waiting for a guy. And I said, well, you never said he was your boyfriend.
He's jumping ahead because he thinks that I drag stories out, but he also leaves out pertinent information. He's like, well, it looks like you're waiting for somebody. And I was like, I am. And I like gave him the cold shoulder, like, okay, like, I don't want to talk to you. But he actually just continued to stand there. And it turned out like the guy was taking a while. He was texting me like, I'll be in soon, 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes. But it was really just taking a while. So Arun just kind of stood there and he kept talking to me. I guess it just like caught me off guard because then he continued to talk to me. So I was like, you know, he's just being friendly at this point then because he knows I'm waiting for a dude. So we just continue talking. And then I finally get a text like, about to come in. He actually like looked over at my phone. I remember being like, the f***? And he goes, well, it looks like Jason is about to come in, but you never said he was your boyfriend, so could I get your number? Because I was taken off guard by that, I went ahead and gave him my number.
Please. You were wishing I was gonna ask you for your number. Whatever.
He thinks that I was standing there and that I was eyeing him is what he told me. And the whole time I was standing there looking at my phone. There's no way I had even noticed him in this bar. But he believes I was eyeing him. Like he thinks that I like called him over with my eyes.
It's true.
No, it's not.
It was also February 13th. So
it was.
My brother and I and another friend were there trolling for girls who were disappointed about not having a date on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I was not one of those girls. I obviously had a date who was about to come inside the bar, and I could have had any date I wanted. Mm-hmm. That's how we met. We met at a bar. And when people are like, you met at a bar and it worked out, the tip that I give them is that I did not go home with him that night.
It was the next night.
All right, next question is Arun Tamil or Telugu? And actually, I think we should even back it up more. Is Arun Indian? And yes, he is Indian.
We're Telugu. My parents speak both Telugu and Tamil.
If you guys don't know, that means that they're from southern India. Have we ever had any issues between our different cultures and religion? So I grew up Catholic. I made my first communion. I was confirmed. I was baptized, all of that stuff. So I grew up Catholic. And you grew up Hindu.
Correct.
Issues aren't, like that's a strong word because I don't think we really had any issues. There's nothing that's like existing right now, like an existing issue or something that comes up constantly or anything like that. We've definitely had moments where we've just kind of compromised, and the compromise is just we don't do it. Like for instance, I wanted to baptize my children. There are some religious stuff with him where you do things with the babies, like some like ceremonies, right?
Correct.
Like there are definitely like ceremonies and stuff that you do on his side as well. And one of them requires you to, for instance, pierce ears of your baby girl. Before Isla is 1, you know, you would pierce her ears. I don't know, I don't really have like any major issues with that, but I guess I was just kind of like, I don't know, I pierced my ears when I was a little girl, and I actually asked my parents to pierce my ears. And I guess I decided that's the way it should be for Isla. is that she can ask if she wants to have her ears pierced, and I think she'll take better care of it and everything. And I don't know, maybe we'll make it a little thing. Maybe Isla will just show up one day and she'll have gotten it in someone's garage and I'll be pissed about it. But as of now, as a baby, I've decided that I want her to be able to ask for it. And so because of things like that, the compromise usually is that we just don't do it then.
So I don't think there's been any issues. I did grow up pretty traditional Indian, at least my parents are pretty traditional Hindu, and Susan was really good about it. I just told her that, look, my mom's been desperate. I have an older brother who was nowhere near getting married. I just said, look, she's gonna put some things on you. She's gonna want you to wear a sari. She's gonna want you to go to all these parties. And when we were in India, she did a really good job. Susan wore all the clothes. We had an engagement party there, but she doesn't have much to complain about because she also got a bunch of gold.
I did.
Anyways, that's about it. And her parents didn't give me any shit about anything, really.
My parents obviously are already in a multicultural marriage and relationship, so I don't think to them this was a big deal. But I think to your parents it was a little bit of a big deal. But at the end of the day, I think his mom she just wanted to make sure that her son was going to be happy and married and everything. And I don't think I made it hard it's hard. How can you not like this face?
Yeah, and then, our wedding, we did both.
Yeah.
We did Hindu wedding and we did Western wedding, so.
Yeah. Though I did show up to our Hindu wedding and I accidentally left all of my jewelry. And your mom was a little she wasn't mad at me. She was just in panic mode. And she just I remember she started taking off her bangles and stuff and putting them on my arms and everything. She's like, you have to wear some of this. So.
I don't remember any of that.
What is your favorite thing to do with the kids?
I think it's swimming. Both of them are really into it.
Yeah.
I think it's Nakash's favorite thing, and I think Isla likes it a lot too. With Isla, at least on the weekends, when I walk in the dog in the morning, I like to put her in the carrier and walk the dog. That's one of her favorite things. Whenever she sees me put the harness on Mason, our dog, she starts crawling towards the carrier because she knows it's time.
I think you're a girl dad. He's a softie for a girl. It's cute to watch him with both of our kids, but there's something about watching your husband with your baby girl that makes you very touching. How hard was it transitioning from 1 to 2 kids?
The most difficult part is the sleeping part of it.
Yeah.
We haven't slept in the same bed in a long time. We have each kid that we're dealing with.
Yeah. To back it up a little bit, we moved Isla into Nikash's room. Before that, one of us was sleeping with Nikash at all times. And so because we wanted Isla to have her own crib and we wanted to get her on a schedule and get her sleep trained and everything, we moved her into Nikash's room, and we decided to move Nikash into a toddler bed in our bedroom. But because of that, Isla still has moments where she wakes up in the middle of the night. She's up and down. Right now, she's in the middle of a regression. She's sometimes a really great sleeper, especially during the day. She's a great sleeper. But then Nikash was just an amazing sleeper. Once he's out, he's out. He likes to sleep. He enjoys sleep. Isla, on the other hand, is a little bit more a busybody kind of person. And so the minute she kind of wakes up, she's awake and doesn't really know what to do with herself. She doesn't want to go to sleep necessarily. And so she's a little bit harder to deal with. So even though we've put her on a sleep schedule and we have sleep trained her, she's going through a regression right now. And so that makes it really difficult because since Nikash is sleeping in our room, I kind of don't want to wake Nikash up with the monitor and stuff. So I've been sleeping in our guest bedroom. It's this whole mess. We haven't really figured this out.
No, that's the only thing.
Yeah, I want to get hardcore though. We're going to get hardcore about sleep training Isla. She's very strong-willed compared to Nikash. I mean, Nikash is strong-willed, but there's something about Isla where she's just no. What was harder was transitioning from 0 kids to 1 kid, right? That transition?
It's true. But I think the hardest part about the transition is that, you have a brand new baby who you're obviously giving a lot of attention to, but then you don't want to neglect Nikash at the same time. And every now and then I feel like he's feeling like he's getting neglected or something.
Yeah.
Which he'll let us know by screaming.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing, is that balance. But at the same time, we're not going to have another new baby. So you don't want to miss any of that either. So yeah. It's just a balance.
Yeah, it is. How do you prepare for number 2?
I mean, the best you can do is try to tell the other child that another baby is coming, but that's never going to hit. I don't think when we introduced her in the hospital, I don't think he realized that she was coming home with us.
Yeah.
So
I don't think so either. The best thing that you can do is just, before you have the second baby, spend a lot of time and attention on your first one, because your attention with that baby is just never going to be the same, no matter what. I've had some moms tell me, even ask in our private Facebook group, BAM, I've had some of them ask, how do you have enough love for both of your children, and does one of them kind of get neglected. And it's not that you don't have enough love for both of your kids, it's just that your time gets spread differently. And, you know, like when we think about Nikosh as a baby, it was a peaceful first year for him. And when we look back on it, I wish we would have known like how peaceful of a first year that was, because with Isla having Nikosh around, she's never had a peaceful, like she doesn't have a peaceful day, especially because we've been in self-quarantine and stuff, and Nikosh has been home with her and everything. Like it originally was that he was gonna be at school. So when she was a brand new baby, he was at school during that time. But then we were going through like this transition of getting him to school and getting him into school and like feeling comfortable with that. So that was a whole ordeal in itself. So that already wasn't peaceful with Isla. And then he ended up having to stay home because of self-quarantine when she started becoming like a crawling baby, or a baby that was like sitting up and more aware of stuff. So she's kind of had, you know, just like this hectic first year of her life, because her toddler brother is a wild child. He's very animated, he's loud, he's rough and tumble, and you know, he's not gentle with her at all. She hasn't had that same first year as a baby as he did. How did we come up with our children's names?
I think my mom came up with Nikosh.
She did. I wanted to name him something with the name Ash in it. So I was looking at like Asher, and what were some other names that we looked at? Asher.
I think Nikhil was one of them too.
Nikhil was the name that we had first settled on.
Mm-hmm. So I think my mom kind of, she's like, hey, there's this name that's kind of like a hybrid of the two.
Yeah. I wanted Ash, he wanted Nikhil. I mean, I liked Nikhil, but I wanted Ash as his nickname. And so I was like really looking for names that had Ash in it. And then his mom was like, well, how about Nikosh? And I was like, oh, I like that. And we can try to call him Ash. And I tried to push this nickname on him, like push it. And it just for some reason didn't stick. I actually had seen that somebody had asked that, like, didn't you used to call him Ash, or do you referred to him as Ash in earlier videos and now we don't call him that? And it's just a nickname that never stuck.
It's because I didn't like it.
It's true. If your husband doesn't like it, it's not gonna stick.
I think I was pushing for Sebastian as his first name.
Yeah, Sebastian is the childhood name that I had chosen for a boy if I ever had a boy. So I wanted to name him Sebastian. It didn't roll off the tongue well, so I was kind of like, how about Nikosh Sebastian? So that's what we named him. How did we come up with Isla's name? Well, like sometimes it's compromising, and then sometimes it's like you just hate each other's name choices. And the name that I had wanted for Isla was Lavender, and he hated it. You didn't even like it as a nickname, as a middle name, right?
Well, it really came down to, I just said anything but Lavender.
Yeah, you did. Anything.
Yeah, and then she said Isla, and I was like, that's fine.
So that's the way to do it. You can choose a name that your husband hates with a passion, and then eventually get him broken down enough where he's like, just any name besides that name, and then you go with the second choice.
Simone was your idea, I think, right?
Isla Simone. It's just so pretty, right? I love it. What's the one thing we want most for our kids? You go first.
24-hour nanny.
Not for you. Not what you want for your kids. Not like literally what you want. Like, what do you want for their future?
I think I had a pretty good childhood. Grew up in the suburbs. Friends and I played outside every day. Parents didn't know where we were. If they can get some close facsimile to that now with the digital age we're in right now, that would be awesome. That's what I'd want. Something close to that. I
want them to be independent, which I think you're kind of getting at, is like having some sort of independence. You know, I grew up really independent. Both of my parents were always working. Like he said, they didn't really know where I was or anything or what I was up to. I was in charge of my 2 younger sisters. I also had 2 younger adopted brothers. One of them I was pretty like in charge of. We also didn't have much. I guess I feel like I became very like scrappy, and I got a lot of grit. I think about that a lot for our kids because we're obviously working towards giving them a comfortable life, you know, giving them the things that they need and they want, making sure that they, you know, live in a nice home, making sure that they can go to the school that they need to, trying to help get them educated and making sure that they're prepped for college, like all of the typical kind of stuff. That's all the stuff that we're working towards providing for them. But I think one of my biggest wishes for them is for them to grow up with some sort of like grit and that independence and that desire, I guess, to want to do things and be smart about it and not so dependent on me. Even though I want to be able to do everything for them, I want them to be independent and go-getters, and I hope that they will be.
Good answer.
You ready for baby number 3?
I don't think you're ready for baby number 3.
You guys, I am done. I cannot have any more children. I want them, and there are times when I'm holding Isla and I'm like, oh, I don't get to have another one of you again ever. And it makes me so sad because I would love to have more babies, but I am so exhausted and so tapped out that I just can't imagine having any more kids. How about you?
No, I'm 45. No thanks.
It has nothing to do with age for me. It's just that I am tapped out. I have way too much on my plate and I already don't get enough sleep. I already feel like my brain is just, like sometimes I have moments where I'm like this. I'm like fried. How have our family dynamic changed since quarantine? It's been hard. In the beginning it was harder, right?
We see a lot of each other.
We do, we see a lot of each other. I think the first couple of weeks of quarantine felt fun-ish. Not like fun because I was sad about everything, kind of feeling like it was collapsing around me, but it felt fun to be like, oh, we're gonna all be together, and we were cooking a lot and we were, you know, like trying to plan kind of like our meals. We were trying to like get into that and everything and like pick out what we're gonna be watching, and it was like the Tiger King stage. All the rules went out the door, and that started to really, like at first, right? Like if you go on vacation and you throw all the rules out, it's fine because you know it's gonna come to an end within a few days, right? And then you're gonna come home, rules are back on. And when I say rules, like schedule and everything, but we let it just keep going and going and going. And it seemed like there was no end in sight. Like Nikosh was trying to go to sleep at like 11 p.m. Isla, as an infant, we hadn't even put her on a schedule, and it was starting to really wear on us. And I think we were starting to, you know, like get to each other and stuff, because when you have like all this stress around your house and everything with your kids, then it starts to get stressful with each other too. So I think we start to really feel that. And then I think putting our kids on a schedule again, which seemed like it seemed impossible. It really seemed impossible, but it actually came together much quicker than I expected.
Yeah, now, you know, we're downstairs. Kids are asleep at 7:30. It's fantastic.
It's a life-changing thing. Granted, this last week has been a mess with Isla because she's going through a sleep regression. But besides that, I mean, even still, she sleeps during the day. She's sleeping right now while we're doing this video. And it's a game changer. And Nikosh is oddly quiet.
That's usually disaster.
All right, so I guess those are all the questions. You guys can ask questions in the comments below. I know Arun is ready to just like soar off of this sofa. He wants to get out of the camera right now. He's out of here. You can find me on Instagram. I'm at Susan Yara. You can find him on Instagram, and he's not gonna let you in because I made him put his account on private years ago because he posts terrible photos of me. So that's why he's private. Thanks you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.